Do I have any? Do I have anybody that is coding along with me? Do I have anyone coding along with me? So I will know how I'm going to take this the paste. Hello, can you hear me?
No, I'm not coding. Yeah, I'm not coding along.
Fola, you're not coding along, right?
No, I
Where
won't
where is
because this is new now.
where is Shane? Shane has not joined this group. Oh, he's the only person that is missing here right now. All right, the first thing we are going to do is this. We are going to create a file. I'm going to close all of these files that I have here. I'm just calling it that intro.js.html. Intro.js.html. Then I'm going to get our boilerplate. I believe we know our shortcut of getting the boilerplate. Shift Y will get your boilerplate. So this document, I'm going to turn it to JavaScript class. JavaScript. All right. So this my I'm going to give an H1 here. It's H1. I'm going to give say because this is actually introduction class. Introduction to JavaScript. Who is that? Introduction to JavaScript.
I'm not seeing your screen. Oh.
Okay, you're not seeing my screen.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the.
Tosin, I can't see what you are doing, sir.
Can't see
Uh,
what you're doing.
eh, my screen is already shared. You know what? Let me stop sharing so that I will share back. Please let me know. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm styling this. Style. So I'm going to give the text a line. I'm passing it to be at the center. Then I'm giving it um, text decoration. I'm going to underline it. Underline text decoration. Underline. Underline. So let me show you my browser. I'm going to go live. So this is what I have presently. All right. Now the first thing we need to understand about JavaScript is that JavaScript is a programming language. It's also a scripting language. So what is the difference between a programming language and a scripting language? A programming language are a language that follow the programming syntax, like things like variables, array, function, classes, objects, encapsulation, all those polymorphism and stuff like that. That these are programming syntax. Why is this also called a scripting language? It's called a scripting language because you can attach it into another script. For example, you can write JavaScript inside HTML. You can write JavaScript outside HTML. Okay, writing it outside just HTML make it a programming language. Then writing it inside HTML make it what a scripting language. First of all, the first thing we are looking at is we are going to look at where we have the how do you write JavaScript inside your programming language. Remember, in CSS we use style. All right, in CSS we use your style, but in JavaScript you are going to use your script tag. So you are writing it inside. Anything I write inside line 14 is actually a JavaScript code. Is that okay? Please, I will need your response in this class. Okay. It's actually a JavaScript code. Okay. Then how do you now communicate JavaScript to your HTML? Then the concept of what you looked at in classes and ID are also very, very important, because if you are changing anything or you are making any adjustment inside your HTML, you have to talk to it from a JavaScript, and that your HTML must be given either a class or what, an ID. Remember, that same classes and ID is what you use to interact with your JavaScript when with your HTML when we are dealing with what, your CSS. So that same classes and ID is what we are still going to use to interact with our HTML with a JavaScript. So why JavaScript? Why JavaScript in web programming language? JavaScript make your website to be responsive. It make your website to be interactive. Okay, it makes your website to look more of dynamic page, not like just a calendar page. All right, so that is one of the essence of JavaScript in your HTML. For example, let's say for example you build a website whereby people go and fill a form, and when they fill a form you want an instance whereby we bring out the eligibility of the form they fill into the screen place or wherever you want to use them. The interaction is actually JavaScript that will activate that for you. Then let's also say you want some kind of effect on your website, like where you click a button, you want an action to trigger. JavaScript is what you use to get all of that done in your website. So JavaScript is a programming language that everybody must learn, especially this new generation, Gen Z generation. You must learn it because everything can be done with JavaScript these days. When I mean everything can be done with JavaScript, you can do full complete front end with JavaScript using your React.js, which is a library in JavaScript. You can do your backend with JavaScript, which is your Node.js, is also a library in JavaScript. You can build a mobile application with JavaScript. You can build a desktop application with JavaScript. You can do a lot of things with JavaScript. Okay, so it's a language that you should learn, that you should know how to do. Then PHP is also a scripting language. It's also a programming language, and it's also a scripting language because you can use it strictly for the backend interaction. All right. So now let's start. Let's start our coding proper. I have, let's say I have a paragraph element here. I want to do one or two things here. Let's say, like I said, you have to give it an ID or you give it a what, a class. So let's start from ID. I'm giving it this one an ID of what, of demo. All right. Let's see what I wrote here is I love coding with JavaScript. I love coding with what, with JavaScript. If I save this, you'll be seeing it on my browser that is actually I love coding with what, with JavaScript. Now the point now is that how do I change this content in my JavaScript dynamically? That's okay. You so this thing has turned to something else. Number one, if I want to change it, remember I gave it an ID of demo. I can say document dot get elements. Sorry, documents don't properly spelled. Documents dot get element by ID. So I'll pass in the name of my ID. What's going on with me today now? I'll pass in the ID. The ID is what is demo. So what I will now do is that I'll call my inner words HTML. Let's say this is what I want to turn it to. I love my name. My name is Data Pro. My name is what? Data Pro. If I save this particular code, you can see that automatically what is written here was changed to what, to my name is what, is Data Pro, and this is actually coming in from what, from JavaScript. I was able to target this because of the ID of demo. Now that will take us to what we call DOM. So let me try and do some commenting out. What we call DOM. DOM actually means, DOM means the D in DOM means documents. The D in DOM means documents. Means documents. All right. Then the O in DOM means objects. then the M in DOM means model. Now this document object model that you are seeing, that's what from what they call jQuery. Because if you look at your syllabus, there's something they also add jQuery to it. All right. So this DOM manipulation of your JavaScript, okay, of your JavaScript is what they actually called the jQuery syntax. Okay, that's what they call the jQuery word syntax. So how do you identify, or how do you know where DOM is active? A good example of DOM is this get element by what, by ID, is a DOM what object. Inner HTML is also a DOM object. Now get elements by ID is you are talking to the ID that you gave your HTML. All right, you gave inside your HTML. That is what this get element by ID. Then this other DOM method that is called inner HTML is actually because you are writing it inside. You want it to replace whatever content that is inside the HTML tag. That's the method. That's this method will now what come into place. So I'm turning it to what, to this. My name is what? My name is Data Pro. Okay, that's what is going on there. That's the work of your DOM. Please, can you guys give me like just give me like 1 minute, please. Let me quickly on the chain. 1 minute. All right, I'm back. Please, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's that about DOM. It's not only document the that get element by ID or inner HTML that you have as a DOM. So let me just list some other DOM for you, because I'll be using all this DOM when I'm writing my code. For example, now normally you have to give it a class also content. Okay, these are DOM. There are a lot of DOM method. Okay, maybe I'll also send you a link whereby you see documentation and go through the JavaScript library and check some most of their DOM method. There are a lot of them, but you find it more useful when you are writing code and you are using them. There's one that is called class list. There's a DOM method that is called class list to show you the list of classes that you have declared inside your HTML. There's one that is called target, to target a particular class or ID that you have inside your HTML. So there are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. All right. So we said that JavaScript is a programming language. Let's now talk about why is it a programming language. Have a view of this. So the first concept I'm going to look at the concept of what we call a variable. What's a variable? Tosin, can you tell us what you understand by variable? Tosin, are you there?
Variables are used to define elements
Variables are used to define
that are to
elements.
be
Data towards
inputted into maybe a script or a particular
data to be stored, Abby,
program.
if I should correct you.
Yes.
Stored. All right. In programming concept, variables are namespace, variables are memory location. All right. And I keep telling students that variable are unknown. So when you now know a variable, it becomes a different name. It's no longer a variable, it becomes a data type. So data type is what the variable is being stored, like what Tosin said. What is stored inside a particular container or wherever is called data type. But just know that you declare it from a what? From a variable. By origin, JavaScript started in early 90s, in 1994 or so. Then they were calling it LiveScript. They were even calling it JavaScript as at then. All right. Later, the programming language evolved into what they call the ECMA scripts, EX. So you'll be hearing people will be telling you are EX, ES5, EX6, ES7, and EX8. EX simply means ECMA script. ECMA is the person that actually developed the programming language. That developed the programming language. That's why they call it ECMA script. So the latest part of what we have in JavaScript now is actually EX6 or 7 or so, and that ES6 or 7 is the latest version of JavaScript, which it is powered with React JS. Okay, when you do React JS, we got to explain more about that. So why do I have to go into the origin of JavaScript? Is because the way variables are declared in the old version of JavaScript is different from how variables are declared in the new versions of JavaScript. But today people don't use the old version again, but that does not mean that the old version will not work inside the new version. So when the old version of JavaScript, you will declare JavaScript with var. If I say var x, if I say var x, var 0, you can see that it's giving a different name. It means that I've declared a variable. Let me increase the, hope you can see this thing very well. My ID. Hope it's okay like this. Or is there any of zooming in out? All right. I think
Yes,
it's better
can
now.
see it.
So you can see that we have var. So what var is that this is actually old method of declaring your JavaScript. I'm not saying var does not work in the latest version, but I'm here to let you know that this is the old method. All right, the latest method of declaring variable in JavaScript is using what? Your let keyword. If I say let x, x has been declared to be what? To be this. The other method is the const what? Keyword const b. So what is the difference between const? We already know that let and var. Var is the old, but the only new thing here, let is the new. Let is the new, okay. Var is the old, but const means what? Constant. So we use const to declare variables that we don't want to change in the course of our program. You don't want it to change in the course of our program. So if I say const b equals to 10 or 100, it means that anywhere that this guy will be used in my program, it will be what? It will be 100. Is that okay? So since we are still in the Gen Z generation, there's no point using var. Let's use the latest words, the latest declaration. Now let me quickly write a program to add two numbers with JavaScript. For example, I say let's 0, and the beauty of JavaScript is this. JavaScript said there is optional, either you use your semicolon to close your statement or you did not put it. JavaScript said no problem, your program will still work fine. But these days when I'm coding my program, I don't like putting colon because I feel since it's not needed, why am I using it? So it's not compulsory, but if you try that in a programming language like PHP, you will not leave that line. Okay, it will not work. But JavaScript said it is what? Optional. Another beauty of JavaScript is that JavaScript allows you to declare your variable and initialize it straight up. If I say let s is equals to 40, yeah, immediately now you notice that I've already initialized the variable to 40. So I can also write this program like this. I can say s equals to what, 40. So this is actually a long syntax. All right, remember we said if you are writing your program, try as much as possible to make it what, short, make your syntax short. So that is the beauty of JavaScript. Immediately you declare your variable, you can also what, initialize it. So when I say let s is equal to 40 and I now say let y equals to 50, okay, so the variable I want to hold all of them, I can say let 0 equals to what, x plus what, plus y. Let z equals to x plus y. Remember we said we have put it inside your what, inside your HTML. So if I want to append this type of program inside my HTML, please, I'm going to use class to do that for you so that you see what was going to happen. So now I'm going to use class here, class. So I gave it a class of demo. So if you are giving it a class of demo, you should not call document dot get element by id. All right, what you should call is document dot query what, selector dot query selector. That's what you should call. Okay, that is the method for what, for classes. So when you call document or query selector, remember in your HTML where you are calling CSS, when you're writing in CSS, you always pass a dot, right? That is also applicable to your what, to your JavaScript. Dot, you pass your what, your class name. So what am I displaying? You can also call your inner HTML if you like. All right, you can also call your inner HTML if you like. So if you call inner HTML, you set it to the new value. So the new value right now is going to be what, 0. I notice, okay, it's going to be 0. If I save this now, let's see what's going to happen. I have this is equals to this, let this equals to this, let's refresh this. So class of what, of demo dot inner HTML equals to what, equals to my 0. So what's going on? Let me see if I have any error. And secondly, you know it's a programming language. The errors of JavaScript do not show on your browser. You check it on your what, on your cursor. You check the errors of JavaScript on your cursor. So the error I'm getting right now, it said uncaught error cannot access Z before initialization. Cannot access Z before initialization. So the error is that I am declaring it, I am displaying it. So this guy is supposed to what, to go up. This is supposed to what, to be on top. So if I run it now, you can see that I'm not having any error again. Okay, I'm not having error again and my program is working fine. So what JavaScript is saying now is this: you, before you display it, you will first of all what, have declared it. Please, is that understood? And secondly, that JavaScript is not added on the head. Remember, your CSS is added to the head of your program. JavaScript is added in the footer area if your program has a footer, or down the body if your program is having other word concept. Is that okay? So peradventure now I turn this thing to something like 70. I turn this on to 70. It's going to give me what, the addition of this guy and this guy. So you can turn it to multiplication, or as the case what, as the case may actually what, may actually be. So if you multiply, you get your result what, display. Now the question now is, please, are you guys following me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, now
Yes, sir.
the question now is, this is hard coded program. It means that you have to be changing this thing where the program is running. So the question that you guys would now ask me now, how do I make the user to impute the value by themselves? There's something called prompt in JavaScript. All right, there's something called prompt in what's in JavaScript. So prompt simply will display a box for you to enter wherever you want to enter. Prompt is a method. All right, methods are built-in word functions. They are predefined functions. All right, we will normally call them reserve word. These are reserve word that is inside your programming concept. All right, now before I will talk about that, let me quickly tell you about the data type. Basically, JavaScript has different kind of data type. The data type we have in JavaScript is number, we have string, we have boolean, okay, we have objects. So let me just say that before I begin to talk about the prompts. So let's turn this one back to 70 so that we know that the program is working. So how do you know the kind of data type that something is carrying in JavaScript? JavaScript use what we call the type of. So let me call this one demo 1. I want to show you the data type of X. So I'm not going to multiply it. This is going to be my demo 1. So if you are bringing that method called type of, you can see it type of, I will now pass in my X here. So if I save this now, what are you seeing now? It's telling you that X is actually what? A number data type. Now a number data type is further divided into, I hope I'm not too fast too. Eh? Hello? Hello?
Don't worry, sir.
No,
We'll
sir, you
manage.
are not too fast.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, so, so the number data type is further divided into three, four of them. The first one we have there is the integer data type. The other one we have the float data type. Then JavaScript added another one again called double. So how do you know that a data type is integer or is a float? When a data type is not having a decimal, when a number is not having a decimal point, that number is said to be what? To be what we call the integer. For example, x, which is 70, is actually integer, but JavaScript will not show you. Okay, it's telling you that it's a number here, but you will know that it's not having a decimal point. It's actually fall under what we call the integer data type. All right. So when a number is having a decimal point, it fall under what we call the float data type. Now the question now is that when you're having a data type that is a float, you know there are some data type that there are some number that you'll be having exponent raised to power 23, raised to power 50. Now those kind of data type cannot be carried by float. The character cannot be handled by float. So that's why we now have the double. So what float cannot carry, it now becomes double. So double is also when the data type is what? When the data type is when the number is having the what? A decimal what? Point. That's also called what? You also use your what? Your double for it. Now the other guy, which is called a string. So let me declare a string data type. If I say let name, so in variable declaration, it's not compulsory that it must be alphabet. You can use statement, you can use sentence, okay. But what JavaScript frowned against is when you're adding the space. If I say name James, or let me use this syntax. Let's say school name, and I add the space like this. JavaScript frown against this, okay, because this is actually a compound word. All right, so what JavaScript said you should do is you have to put a word underscore. If you are not using underscore, you use the camel case words method. This is what called camel case. You use capital words n, okay. That's what JavaScript said you should do. So if I say school name is equals to uh, Patricia Patricia private schools, Patricia private school. Now if I say school name is equal to Patricia private school, you can see that this Patricia private school is inside a what? A quote. All right, this is actually a string word data type. So let's show you that is a string data type. I'm going to duplicate this. So I'm going to duplicate this. So this one, let's call it something like demo words, demo 2. So let's see what we are going to have here. So query selector, I'm looking at demo words, demo 2. So this one I'm going to have here, I'm going to have it to be what? To be school words, school name. School name. So if I save this, you can see that it's telling me that is what is a string. String is not limited to a single quote. You can also have it inside, it's a double quote. You can also have it inside a single quote, okay. String can also be inside what? A single quote. So basically in programming language, anything that is inside either a single quote or a double quote is actually what we call what? string. Is that okay? So having understand that, the next data type that you will also want to understand is the what we call the boolean. The boolean. So if I say, for example, uh, uh, James equals to, I pass in something like true. So basically the boolean data type is anything that is any in words, either true or false. Anything that ends in either true or false is what we call the word boolean. So if I want to check the data type that this guy belongs, remember the method I've introduced to you guys today is what? Your type of. I've used it several times. If I come here and I said this will come demo word 3, I turn this on to what do I call it, James. It will tell you that it's James is what? Is that capital J? Jemasi. Jemesi. Jemesi is actually what? A boo. Alright, Jemesi. Supposed to get my result out.
On
Demo.
your class, you
Slide 23.
Alright, I've seen it. So you can see that is a what is actually what a boolean. So please, if you are taking home, this type of will tell you the data type that your variable what is. Please, everything is starting from what? From variables. Sometimes I call variables, I call data type variables, I even call arrays variables, because I know that it is starting from variable what initialization. Is that okay? All right, the next kind of data type that these people have is what we call the array. Before I will now come and talk about the prompt, what is an array? A variable cannot be a variable cannot carry multiple items. For example, the school name I have, I can't have other schools inside there. Even if I say let me be having other school inside there, it is going to be seen as a singular word entry, which is going to be in that variable, and I cannot even say okay, oh, I want to access the school based on their word, their index. All right, that will lead to what we call what array. So if you are declaring array, let's say I declare a const, I said a const, this array is an array for schools. All right, is an array for what? For schools. I pass my equals to. So you declare an array with a square what bracket, a square bracket open and a square bracket close. It means that this is what an array. So if I say, for example, I have my first school here, Patricia. I have my first school here called Patricia. Then you have to pass a comma. Remember I said that a string is either what? A single quote or a double quote. Let's say another school